Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer.
I'm Julia Hartley.
And today we're up on Mortimer Forest in Herefordshire. And it's rather, well, it's changeable weather up here because as you can see, beautiful behind us, beautiful sunshine, wonderful vistas. We're up on High Vinnalls on Mortimer Forest and it's incredible. However, if we turn around this way and you look behind us towards Wales, coming in from Wales rather rapidly and rather surprisingly after all the sunshine that we've had this summer, it's rain.
Yep.
And look what I'm dressed in, and you're just dressed in
a
summer dress. We've come up here, I can feel the rain, let's move swiftly away.
As if we can outrun it.
As if we can outrun it. The views up here at High Vinnalls are amazing. It's on the top of the Mortimer Forest, which is principally Douglas fir and conifer, but with broadleaf as well. And one of the reasons we've come up here is because there is a threat, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But before all of that, we need to find some shelter, lovely Julia.
Yeah.
Downhill.
Approximately 1,000 hectares of forest here, so we should be able to find something.
Let's hope so.
It's a bit wet.
It is a bit wet. We're sheltering under a lovely oak tree on Mortimer Forest. We were hoping that the rain was going to clear a little bit, but
it didn't.
It isn't. And unfortunately, if we carry on walking, all that happens is you just get blotches of water on the lens, which is no good. So while we're here, let's tell our lovely viewers, we've taken some pictures so we can put those in on the way up. We had a guide who didn't want to appear on camera, who was telling us a lot about Mortimer Forest. So let's see if we can remember some of those things, Julia.
Yeah.
Now you picked up on a number of things.
Yeah. He said approximately 1,000 hectares.
Yeah, which is quite huge.
Yeah.
But not massive.
No.
It's hard. I can't actually visualise what a hectare is.
He did give a conversion, but I cannot remember.
No, quite big.
Yeah. But it harbours 30 different species of bird, 12 different species of bat, and they're also doing a hazel dormouse study here.
Oh yeah. And these are like little boxes in which they're not traps, are they? They can come and go.
I mean, I was worried about that at first. I was like, oh, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's a house. It's a little dormouse house.
And they could just go and live in it or not live in it as it
seems to be.
Yeah. And
you looked in a couple.
Yeah, and they were nothing to see. But what's interesting, there's old tracts of land, hazel coppices, which were clearly at some point in time hedgerows, and may have been the old laid hedges, because the hazel is all in a line, and it's very typical of how you would have laid hedges. But of course the hedges have long gone and have been grown out, and the stools have come back up.
Yeah. It's funny because it's almost like a ridge underneath all of these lines.
Well, I was told that the area where there's going to be potential development, or there is potential development of luxury spas with hot tubs and things, which is why there is a Save Mortimer Forest going on, of which we'll really talk more about in another video when we come back. But the area, which is on Juniper Hill, is a flat area, but of course it's got conifer trees in there at the moment, would all be wiped away. It's sort of fairly level.
That's the one good thing about it, is that they would
get rid of the conifers. Yeah.
But ideally we'd want some broadleaf and deciduous trees in there.
Yeah.
Not human beings.
So that's part of the thing, that the Forestry Commission own the land, but about 100 years ago they stripped the wild ancient woods and planted conifers, because they needed or thought we all needed some instant wood, and of course trees aren't that instant, but we grew this stuff, and so much of the countryside was decimated that way, and obliterated, and now you've got this sort of almost Germanic landscape with these conifers, but on the edges of that, the part of the original wild wood, the hazels, the oak, the ash, have have all sprung back and are growing. And
it's fantastic seeing some of the oaks coming up
Yeah.
in between the conifers and the Douglas firs. It's just wonderful.
it absolutely. And the land that we were just talking about, where the conifers are, part of the conifers are, that's level, used to be an old field. And it was, used by villagers and what have you on the top, sort of on the top or promontory of one of the hills. But anyway, we're going to try and persevere a bit more and tell you more about what we see and show you a bit more and try and avoid the raindrops.
I've just remembered something else you said.
Yes.
The Mortimer Forest sits on some ancient rock, like 450,000-year-old rock.
Silurian, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Silurian rock,
Something
a
like that.
sedentary rock.
It's like a mound with fingers of, so there's valleys in between.
Like the Sussex combes that we have. Yeah.
And I thought that was fascinating.
Absolutely.
It's like a giant's hand or something.
Anyway, let's see if we can dodge a few raindrops, shall we? And
Yeah.
show a little bit more.
I'm going to go running down the BMX track, look. It looks funky.
Okay. Off we go. Off we go then.
Nah. Don't fancy slipping and tripping and breaking an ankle today. Hello,
Julia,
Richard.
we've dodged the rains, the sun's come out, and we're down here by a beautiful little pond. But look by your foot. There's a stone. No, to your left. I've spotted it. Have you spotted it? Keep looking down towards the water, down the edge. That clump.
Oh, yeah. Huh. And it says, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shropshire, I can't even speak now. Shropshire rock.
Shropshire rock. This is one of those new crazes now, isn't it? That
Yeah.
people get some stones and they paint on them and then they leave them in places.
I'm actually going to leave this one here because
Yeah,
it's
of
wet
course.
and it's coming off on my fingers.
Oh, that's no good.
Someone could take it on a dry day.
But look, the Mortimer Forest has these little natural ponds, and as you saw, there was duckweed in there, and various different species. We know that there's crested newts. I don't know if about in this one, but in other places, lots of wildlife, lots of interesting things, and areas like this. Because you've got to remember, a forest, by definition, doesn't actually mean an area completely enclosed with trees.
Woodland.
A woodland is an
only
area.
part of it.
Yeah, a woodland is enclosed with trees, and a forest contains heath
woodland and heath
and meadow
and ponds.
and ponds and wild bits. And there are various areas where the conifers have been harvested, because you've got to think of conifers as a crop. Just they happen to be trees, but you think of them as a crop. And then when they have been taken down, because conifers don't coppice, the area, if it's open to the elements, it's open to, thankfully,
Sunlight again.
yeah, sunlight and saplings from all sorts of things. Like, for example, up here, if we just come up here, you'll suddenly see all sorts of things like ash and hazel, of course. And here, I'm going to wade through, there's a brambles, but look, beautiful little oak, a bit more than a sapling now, but it's well on its way to be an established tree, and that's fantastic.
Is that a lime over there coming up? I'm not sure, but yeah, there are several little saplings creeping up on there.
Yeah, we've seen lime, we've seen oak and ash and beech and rowan. We've seen rowan that have bunches of those beautiful orange berries, and of course, talking of berries,
Harvest of blackberries here.
blackberries. That's lunch.
Yep.
I think, Julia, I'm going to try and get down there. It's a bit wet. I think that's an elder there, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
We all this year we've seen the flowers of the elder, and we've called them out when we've been travelling about. And of course now's that time when elder is turning into flowers, into berries. Actually, it's quite steep to get down, but there we go. It's not quite there yet, but It does look magnificent.
Having self-doubts, but it does look like an elder. It has all the signs of.
Yeah, I think so. It just hasn't got the berries quite, they haven't quite ripened, or some other bugger's gone and eaten them.
Yeah, they've been eaten already.
But yeah, that's the first elder in the forest that we've seen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
disability access and stuff.
We've pretty much in this video just been keeping to the main paths, but I think what's interesting is if we just have a quick look into the forest itself, and you can see here this is an easy access path for disability people.
Wheelchair users.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. But have a look here. This is what I want to show you about conifers and Douglas firs. The plantation that the Forestry Commission used to do. They don't do this now. But you can see when you get inside the regimented trees here that are straight.
It's cold, it's dank, and there's nothing growing down here except these conifers.
And the ground is covered with the droppings of the pines and the cones, and it's putting acid into the ground so that nothing will grow. But as soon as you get into some shade, if I pan the camera this way, you'll see the only thing at the moment that grows on the acid is the ferns. And above us the canopy, if I raise up the camera,
doesn't let much light down.
It doesn't really. It looks like it does, but it's so high above us.
I mean, if it did, it wouldn't be so cold down here at the base of the trunks.
And those areas that have the light opened up, bluebells, wild garlic, snowdrops, yeah, comes out because it can have light, and that's why these conifers is not really good for British.
They don't even like being down here. They actually prefer being in colder climates.
Yeah, no, it's true. Let's go back out and get into the sun. One of the remarkable things, though, I think in Mortimer Forest, like so many of our forests, but this one in particular, when you compare it to the Forest of Dean, I mean, it is the summer holidays as we film this. We need to go back onto the main path, don't we? And we've really only seen 2 people.
Yeah.
It's people do come, obviously. You can tell that by the fact that there are signs and paths and areas that tell you to clear up your dog and all of that. But
clear up your dog. Hey, dog. Boom.
Well, clear up your dog's mess. But it is very tranquil. It is very peaceful. And one of the problems is that it is under threat of some holiday chalets with hot tubs. And that, of course, brings infrastructure. It takes water from the boreholes.
It means they've got to drag some power lines through the forest somehow. They've got to divert water from the 2 villages nearby, and well, they're using boreholes, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know much about boreholes, but
and of course boreholes have limited amount of water that you can take out of at any one time.
Exactly.
2 villages would be affected by the water extraction.
I mean, as it is, they already have to be aware of what they're using water-wise. So how do they think? How does the Forestry Commission think that putting holiday homes in here is going to help that? It's not. It's not even going to save their backsides either. But
so
at present, during the night, the forest and the wildlife here gets a break. It gets to recoup and do its thing and be itself. But if there's holiday homes here, that peace and tranquility is going to be broken.
Let's just nip down here for a second and come to the end of our video, because we're fast approaching the car park now. We started at High Vinnalls and we're heading back down to the car park, and we're very close, and it looks like this is a beech tree that we can just snuggle under in case it decided to rain. And also just behind you is an ash tree. If you watch our next video, you'll see us doing a little bit of our tree identification on Mortimer Forest. So anyway, do join us again next time. Thanks, Julia, for coming with me and exploring. It's been great, hasn't it?
It's been fantastic.
Till the next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.